Hey everyone, I don't know if you've already read the title of this video, but before I enter into the main topic of this video, I have one thing to say. Programming is very easy. Yeah, it's extremely easy. I don't even have words for it. Anyways, today we're going to be building an expense tracker. What is an expense tracker? Let me put it into perspective. Imagine you wake up one day, you see 10,000 francs on your table. Luckily you have 10,000 francs, that's a lot of money. You put it in your pocket and you're like, okay, let me hold this money, let me see what I can do with it. Maybe I can go to the market, maybe I can go here, maybe I can take taxi, I'll go there. At the end of the day, you come back home, you realize that you're left with 500 francs. Then you're like, wait, how am I only left with 500 francs? What did I do? Then you pick up a paper and a pen. Yes, I said a paper and a pen. You start writing down everything. You say, okay, I bought carrots for 500 francs. I bought tomatoes for 500 francs. You write everything down. You pick up your calculator. You calculate. And you have to put the total here. You have to put everything down here. And put the paper here. And you realize that you have to repeat the process every time you go out. So every time you go out, you always have to come back and jot stuff down. Man, in 2022, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of redundancy. You can ease your life thanks to programming. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be building that expense tracker. But we'll just build a very simple yet effective stuff. Why am I saying simple? Because expense trackers do much more complex things, like they track your bank accounts, track your investment accounts, see your expenses, and it's not so complex, but it's more complex than what we are going to do today. And take note, complex doesn't mean difficult, it's easy. So let's just go over what we will build today. Okay, let me walk you through what we're going to be building today. It's a very simple expense tracker, as I said earlier. When you enter the site, you're welcome with this page. You have to enter your name. My name is ATO Bradley. I didn't even say my name in the beginning of this video, but anyways. Enter your budget. It's in francs CFA. The currency is francs CFA. So I have 250,000 francs. That's my budget. Okay, I'm pretty rich. When you start, you're welcome with this page. You have your expense checked out, your amount, the amount you spent. Let me say I spent 2,500 francs on taxi. I took depot. Add expense. You see it subtracts from your total budget. It adds to your expense. Then let us say today I did a small business that gave me 25,000 francs. Business. So it adds to my income and adds my total balance. So it's my total balance after subtracting the expense. Let me say I bought credit for 5,000, or let me say 50,000 francs. I sent it to my mom. Credit, I just add it here. You see it adds to my expense and it deducts it from my total balance. So this is a very simple expense tracker we're going to be building today. I could add a database, but I didn't want, so I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So let's start. Okay, let's start. First things first, we're going to create a new React app. Yeah, we're going to be using React to create this little project. If you don't know what React is a very useful JavaScript library created by Facebook. So the Facebook you're using right now is written in React, part of it actually. So if you've never used React before, I have a video in the description on how to install Node.js and everything you need for React. So let's start. You need to create a React app. We use npx create React app. We'll call it expense tracker. Okay. It's going to take a little while, so I'll skip to after it has created. Okay, our React app has finished creating. It just took like a minute here. It can take more time depending on how fast your computer is. So let's open it. So you locate where you created your app and open it. Click trust. Okay, so first things first, we're going to clean all of this. We'll delete this file here. We delete this. We delete this. We delete this. Don't worry. We are deleting all of it because we're not going to use it, so we'll just use what we'll need. So we delete all this CSS here, we delete all of this here, and yeah, we can start. I'm going to install a quick library. It's called styled components. It's used as an alternative to the normal CSS. we're going to do npm install style component. It'll take a little while, but like just a few minutes. Okay. Now we'll continue by creating our folders. Create a components folder. Then we'll create a pages folder. In a components folder, we'll have what we call the navbar. The navbar is where you get the title of the site. Now we're going to name it index.js. Then since we're using style components, we'll put a CSS related files. RC, this is a shortcut. I don't know how to name the plugin, but just type RCE on Google. There's a plugin that helps you like declare all of this at the start. In the navbar elements file, we'll import style component from style component. I prefer calling it style. I don't know why, I'm just used to. We'll start with a little bit of styling. Go with export. Nav container. Style.div. So what style component does is that instead of having your normal HTML tags, you can have your custom tags with styles already applied to it. Instead of div here, we'll have nav container. As you can see, it's imported automatically. This is for the little bar you see up in the site. It's going to be an unordered list. Then inside the unordered list, we'll have a list of items. We'll call it nav elements. I'm not going to show as I'm typing everything. I'll just skip to after typing because it's faster that way. You can copy the styles. It's on my GitHub posted above. Nav link is for the routes. Like, what are routes? Routes are like, you see when you open a website, there's several different pages. So routes are what handles all those pages. So you can leave from the home page to different pages. But we will not use routes here. I just did it because I was planning on adding different pages, but I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So I did it just one page. So we'll just have one page, but we're going to use routes. So we'll install React Router. Don't worry if you don't understand all the terms in this video. I'll not be explaining all of it in this video, but I'll be making little videos on YouTube explaining all of this. I just want to show you how simple it actually is to build stuff like this. Let's use the style components we just did right now and continue. So this is the nav wrapper, this is the unordered list. So to see what we have built so far, now we'll do an npm start. This is going to launch the project. I already have something running on port 3000, so I'm going to tap yep. Run on a new port. Let's see, we'll probably have errors. Yep, I knew we didn't delete one more thing. We have to delete this right here. So, and also here, because we deleted the file, so we have to delete the declaration. Oops. So our project is showing a blank page right now, just because we have not used it in the app.js file. So we use router. So remember the router we just installed, we are going to be using it here. So as I said, you can just follow this tutorial. Even if you don't understand everything now, I'll be making other tutorials eventually to be explaining everything in details. But like, this is just to show you how easy it is actually. Like, when you master all this stuff, you don't even need to be a master. Just like even a beginner can build all of this easily. Let's continue. So I just renamed the index file as navbar so I can import it here using the navbar name. Okay, what is all of this for? So you see, as I earlier said, in a web page, there can be so many pages, or you can have just one page or two pages. So this route is used to help you navigate between pages. So you just put this slash here for it to be mapped as the default page. So let's go ahead and create a page, the home page. We'll name it homepage.js. Here we'll use CSS. There are a lot of tags, so I don't want to use tag components. Homepage.css. Okay, easy, right? Okay, we've created a home page. Now let us put it in this route so it can be. Now let us put it in this route so we can see it. We're having an error here. What is it saying? Nav wrapper is not defined. Oh, we have not imported it. We need to import it. Okay, this nav link, we're importing it from the wrong place, so let's import it from our navbar elements file. Another error. Oh, link R is not defined. Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to import it. We're going to import link as link R from React Rotterdam. Okay, now let's see what we've built so far. Okay, we see there is homepage right. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Now let us see what's wrong. It's not showing the correct colors. Oh, okay, it's not showing the colors because I didn't add the colors. Actually, we need to add a background color here. As you can see, here it is. We need to add a padding to make it big. Yep, so we don't have the title shown. Why is it not showing? I copied the wrong code for the nav elements, so we just have color white and float left. Okay, so we have our expense tracker here. You see this homepage we created here it is right here. So this homepage, you can see this homepage here. So the code we're going to write on the homepage.js is going to appear here. So first things first, we have to import the CSS file. So as you can see in our finished app, you're going to be welcomed with this. So we'll start with this. So we're going to start with the div. We will name it container. This name is going to be useful when we're going to be adding styles to it. What are styles? Styles are like colors, particular properties, so everything enclosed inside this div. So let us add label. This label is going to have a paragraph. We're going to have enter your name. All of our tags are going to have class names, so let's start giving the class names progressively. Class name here is going to be form, for amount. Nope, let's leave this label without anything like that. Okay, the class name for this paragraph is going to be text. Let's just keep it simple. So when targeting it in our CSS file, we shouldn't have any hard time when spelling it out. I'm gonna have input. Okay. So this input here is going to contain the name. So let's see how it is for now. Okay, here's our little app for now. You can enter your name already, though you can't do anything with it, but that's a good start. Let's move to the next step. We'll add let's first add the attributes. The type is going to be text. By default it's already text, but let's just put it to show you how the input tag has different uses. E.target.value. So this name here and this set names, this is actually a variable and this is a function. We're going to create it here. So we'll do const name comma set name equals to use state. So don't worry if you don't know what all of this means. I'll be putting out videos eventually explaining all of this. We're just going to copy this, paste, then modify. So here we have enter your name, enter your budget. Okay, enter your name, enter your, modify this to budget. Then we have to add the button you see at the end. Then inside the button we'll have a little paragraph. We're adding a paragraph in the button just to be able to style it more accurately. You can still do it like that, but I had a hard time styling it without the paragraph inside. So we'll give it a class name. So we're going to add on-click event. It's going to on-click. So we're going to, so this on-click here is an event that is used to do something after the button is clicked. So add handle info. This is a function we are going to create a little bit later. Name this wrongly. We'll give a class name to the paragraph, expense text. I'm just trying to name these things as simple as possible. Okay, so here it is. Handle info is not defined. Oh, we need to create the function right now. So let's just create it and then add the functionality after. Okay, so this is our little program for now. Looks good, right? I hope you'll be following up and adding some stuff yourself. Looks good. Okay, it does nothing for now. All right, let us see. Next, let us style all of this. So first things first, we have the container. As I earlier said, I'm not going to be typing all these styles, so you can just copy and paste it as I'm doing. Let's add style for the input. For this input, I preferred adding an inline style. I don't know why, I just preferred it. You can do as you wish. You can either create a class name or add an inline style as I'm doing. It's a matter of preference or choice. Let's copy this here and paste it here because it's the same thing. It looks good. It looks good. We can move to the next step. That is here, this step. Let us add some default values for the name. I'm going to put ATO. If you like, you put your name. I love my name, ATO. So we have some default values here already. So here's 8. So actually, after clicking the button, it won't take you to another page. We are going to do everything on one page. So it's not going to take you to the next page. So everything is going to be on the same page. But the only difference is we're going to conditionally render what you see on the screen after clicking the add expense. So to do this, we'll create a variable called OK. Yeah, I know I named my variables really poorly, but I think it's quite expressive, right? Okay. Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. So use state is going to be a boolean, which is going to have the initial value as false. This is all the statement we will need. Okay, is it okay? If it's okay, we'll put on, if it's okay, then we'll put the braces. Cut this, paste it here. Else, we'll display the next stuff. We're going to put GS6 tags here to get rid of the errors. So next we'll have the actual contents of the expense tracker. That is after clicking on the add expense. Here is what is going to show, like everything that this div is going to contain. So let's go class name equals container. It's not going to be too complex. not too different than what we earlier did. It's just going to have more stuff. So you add a welcome with the name variable, the total variable. We're going to create it later. You can slow down the video so you can copy what we are doing, but we are doing nothing complicated, just basic stuff right now. Here's the final result. Here's how it looks so far. Not bad. Expense variable here. Let's create an expense variable. Comes expense. Yeah, we're going to add a div which is going to serve as a line. It's just to make everything look a little bit beautiful. Now let's move to the next step. Let's create the actual form for the expense tracker. All right, so the form is going to go here. Here we'll have a label. The label is going to have the radio button for the type you want. That is either an expense or an income. So here the value is going to be expense checked. I just copy this and paste it. Here will be the income. Now we can create a function, the onChange function. So the variable we create right now is going to be called type. Set type. Set type equals to use state. By default, is going to be expense. Is it expenses or expense? Okay, it's expense. All right. Then handle info will just be setting OK to true. So after you click the button, you set OK to true. That's all. So what have we just made? So here's what we have made. You can select either expense or income. So all of this is not styled. We're going to add the styling at the end. We will not be focusing on styling because it's very long. It's a lot of stuff to just write. So let's just focus on the essential stuff. Now let's go to the next part, the actual places where you enter your expenses or your income. Let's start with label. We're going to create a div which is going to contain the inputs so we can style it later on. So we'll give this one here class name input. Oops. We haven't created an amount variable. Okay, let's do it right now. Let's just create the next variable. The next variable we'll have is going to be usage. Let me just put this right over here so you can see what is happening in real time. What are we going to do next? You see we have the usage part here. So we'll add the usage. It's just going to be the same as here. So we'll just copy and paste this. You know, copy and pasting is one of the biggest tool of a programmer. So don't be shy when you want to use it. Copy and paste as much as you can. It saves a lot of time. We will not modify a lot. Just here, instead of set amounts, we'll have set text, set usage, and the value here is going to be usage. Now finally, we'll need a button to be able to validate the form. So let's do this real quick. After the button, we have the history section. I'm going to name it history. We'll not add a class name, we'll just add a little style in here for font size. We'll make it to be a little bit smaller, so font size is 22 pixels. Yep, it looks good. Then we are going to create an array which will contain the history. So if you're connecting it to a database, or you want to pull data from an API, this array is going to contain the data you pull from the database or from your API. So we're going to call it data, set data. Then we'll have a little function called handle submit. This function is going to be called anytime we click the button. So we'll not do anything complex. Anytime you click the button, it will just update the array. That's all. So first, it's going to update the array, set data. What you want to do is you want to add the initial array, the initial content of the array, which in our case is going to be empty. Then you add the new data you want to pass. First, yeah, this is a lot of variables. This is not the most efficient way of doing things, but like, I just wanted to do this quickly to show you how easy it is. All right, let's go. So the first is going to be 1. First, let's just do this simple, very simple logic for the calculations. So if the type is income, we will set the total to the current total plus the amount you've just entered. So we're going to parse it as floats. So we are first converting the total to a float variable. Float variable is like a decimal number. So I'm sure you're wondering why we are converting it. Isn't it already an integer by default? It's because JavaScript is weird. It considers all of this like strings. So if we don't put the parse float here, it's just going to like append everything together instead of adding the actual values. So we are converting everything to floats before we calculate. We can convert to ints, but some people might have decimal points when they are calculating. So yep. So we're going to add the income plus the amount to. Okay, let's test it out if it works. We have here, let's put 45,000 usage. Wait, usage not supposed to be an integer. Usage is a string. Okay, let's test it. 45,000 bread. Oops, it's not working. Why is it not working? Because we have not set what the actual, we have not actually set what the button is going to do. So on click, we have handle submit, handle submit. Yep. So you see it's adding the balance, but it's not checking out our history. That is totally normal because we have not told it to do so. You know, that's what is funny about computers. If you don't tell them to do anything, they won't do anything. So for the history section, we will add a div. We are going to be pulling the data from the array. So we use the map function, and inside the map function, we're going to have the items. Then we're going to use an unordered list. As earlier said, most of the CSS, we're not going to be typing it out. So just go ahead and copy the code from the GitHub, and let's test it out and see. So we have our thing working. So you can add an expense, 5,000 francs. I use it on bread. Oh, something is not working well. Expense supposed to subtract, not add. So let's do a little debugging. This one is going to be easy. When we set when it's on expense, it's supposed to subtract instead of add. And instead of adding the expense here, it's not adding the expense. So why is it? It's because we are instead setting income instead of setting expense. So this is supposed to work. Okay, so it's working great. Income working great too. All right, so why are we leaving a negative balance? Obviously, you can exceed your budget. So anytime your expense exceeds your total amount, it gives a negative balance. When you refresh the page, it's supposed to take you to where you have to add your name and your budget. So it's not doing that just because here in the OK section, the initial value is true. It's not doing that because here in the OK section, the initial value is false instead of true. So we just have to change it to true. Add your name. Let's say Branap. Branap is pretty poor. He has 25,000. What the okay, this is not working. Let us see why. I think I already know. The problem here was because we set this value here to true, and since in the handle info we're setting OK to true, it means he's always setting OK to true and such resetting the page. So all we needed to do is instead we could do it in two ways, either by adding the exclamation mark here or by setting this to false and setting it up here to true. But I just chose to add here because it's easier. With our app, that's everything. So we can add a name. Let's say Bradley. Oops. Bradley has a lot of money. Yes, that's a lot of zeros. Okay, you can add the amount, 45,000 for an expense. He bought bread for 45,000. Here it is. Oops, the expense here is still green. So what we have to do is we need to change it to red. Let's do it real quick. Let's just put the style here. Core red. Oops. We see that here the text looks a little bit different. So let's add a new font family. Let's go to our app.css. Add a star. When you add a star, it's going to target the whole file. I mean the whole project. So add font family. Which one should we use? Let's use this one. So okay, yeah, it looks a whole lot better. So let's start by Bradley 10,000. Yep, everything works fine. Food, income, salary. Yep, everything works fine. So this is all about the video. If you want to host it, you can host it using any free service like Netlify or GitHub. I used Netlify to host. So this is all about the video. We have built this simple expense tracker. If you like, you can expand on it by creating a database and letting the user create an account and save his history. And you can do so much more. You can expatiate on it to a bigger app, but we're just going to stop here for today. I'm sure you're probably telling yourself by now that programming is not as easy as you said, but trust me, it's really easy, because when you see how much you can do with it with just a very little time, you realize that it actually gives you the power to do a lot. Anything you can imagine, you can put it to life using code. So it's really powerful, and with great power comes great responsibility. But with the person having the responsibility finds it really easy. No. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. I'll be posting more tutorials, more guides, and I hope to see you in the next video. Like and share. Bye bye.